Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Repeat Ron and today we're going to be doing another Killing Floor 2 video. This time we are going to be going over how to beat Hell on Earth with the Swat class. And first up, let's talk about the perks that I'm going to be running, and I would recommend these for solo as well as the start of multiplayer, but Swat can be a really good starting class for any other class you want to transition into. So the first thing that you want to go with is pretty much everything on the left hand side with Swat. With the exception of the bottom, the level 25 skill. You can pick whichever one of these you like more. Battering Ram if you want to get up close and personal, or if you want to, knock Zeds away. It's a pretty fun skill to use. Rapid Assault is generally better, but it's your call. Rapid Assault also does give you a unique advantage with the Medic submachine gun, because when it's Zed time, you also have infinite healing darts with the Medic syringe. So you can actually work as a really good off Medic if you want to play SWAT that way. Now, first up, you want to go with heavy armor training just so you don't get grabbed by grunts, and you get an extra 50 armor to start out with, as well as enemies have to break your armor in order to hurt your health, unless they're sirens or the matriarch scream. You want to go with close combat. This gives you a second 9mm pistol, which is extra value, as well as your 9mm, and your knife does 100% bonus damage on top of that, so it's great for getting you through the first couple waves. You don't have to buy anything with SWAT. Then suppression rounds next. This one's just more practical than Ammo Vest early on, although you could switch to Ammo Vest later on if you would like, just because you'll at least get some value out of it. Assault Armor at level 20, that'll increase your maximum armor to go up to 150, and you'll start out with an extra 50, so you can start out with 100 base armor, and then, like I said, 25, pick whatever you want. Then once you have played a bit, you can switch over to the right-hand side, you can switch over to the right-hand perks. If you're not interested in using the 9mm outside of the first round, like tactical reload's fine. Ammo Vest is good once you have the money to actually buy extra things, and cripple is pretty decent too for slowing enemies down. Tactical movement's also really good, especially if you want to be using the Glock 18 and the shield. So let's begin. I'm going to be playing 4 rounds Hell on Earth on the Hellmark station. And as you can tell, I'm not level 25 yet, but if you were, it would be much easier to do this than if you're lower leveled. That goes with any class. But SWAT has arguably the strongest starting game out of all the classes. I would probably say they do have the strongest starting game. The MP7 is really good at killing small enemies. It's got a fantastic sight. It's full auto or semi-auto. It has a reasonably large magazine, because every time you level up, it'll get a little bit bigger. I think it gets 1 round bigger every time you level up. So it goes from 30 to 60 when it's maxed out, since that's just a passive that SWAT has. Enemies have to break through your armor to hurt your health, so you're pretty tanky for the first round. You can't get grabbed, so you don't have to worry about any of that. As well as, you do have the 2 9mm, so you can use those. And you have extra damage on them, so even just spam firing it at the body of enemies is perfectly fine.
My boots, your face.
And if you want to be real cheap, you can just switch to your knife the first round, because the knife is reasonably strong here. You can actually kill these guys pretty quick with just a few slashes, especially if you had good timing. Just move in, hit him with a heavy attack. This way you save even more money for the next round. And it would be the smartest idea, regardless of which class you're playing or intending on playing, to start out as SWAT. You also have your flashbangs, which are fantastic because you can't injure yourself with them, which is one of the few grenades that you can't do that with. So that's pretty cool. And it stuns pretty much everything. Looks like we have a stuck Zed. Oh no, it's just a bloat. He's just slow. Okay, so let's go. Another great thing about SWAT is that you don't need to buy anything really for the first wave. Even if you're playing 10 rounds Hell on Earth, and even if you're playing with 6 people, you'll still probably have some supplies left over, especially if you were being real stingy and using your knife. If not, you just wasted through everything just so that you could switch over to your class immediately. That's perfectly fine too. And if you do want to buy something early on, the SWAT does have some pretty good choices. So if you don't want to take the MP7, that's fine. The tier 2 weapons are honestly not that great, just compared to the MP7, with the exception of the Medic SMG, which is pretty strong. So what I'm going to buy here is the HRG nail gun, because this is probably SWAT's best weapon overall. This allows you to kill things very effectively. It shoots quite quick. It does piercing damage rather than SMG damage, so it's better against flesh pounds. And you can switch it between single nail fire and shotgun nail fire. When you're firing it like a shotgun, though, it does have a slower rate of fire, but it will still do more DPS because of how many rounds it's throwing out. So I'm just going to keep it on single fire right now, or a single nail right now, and probably be using my pistol to get a little bit more value out of it. I still have fallback, or close combat training, so I don't really have to worry about, you know, not having damage on the 9mm. And like I said, this is just for a little bit more value.
Money incoming.
Ammo boxes. Always be looking out for those.
Lovely.
And always be trying to run around in a circle pattern, at least if you're playing solo, you know, some kind of loop. That way enemies aren't constantly coming from every direction at you. This way they can only come at you from a few directions, and they can only cut you off from a few directions. As well as any area that you want to be running to, make sure that you're looking towards that, at least at any bottlenecks like this, because you don't want to be stuck here fighting those guys and then have those two show up and stop you, or that stalker, you know, making things worse for you. Okay. No, that's not great. Okay. Now, this is what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to go back. If anybody sees me doing this in streams, this is usually the reason why, is because I kind of see that the way that we're going is blocked, or I'm going to take significant amount of damage. So, in that case, it's usually better to just try to find another path around. Especially if you have teammates, because who knows, you know, how many enemies are actually going to be there once you get around the corner. So, we'll just keep going. Another thing that I personally like to do is that I don't like to reload while I'm running through an area that I might get caught up in. So even if I only have like half a magazine left, I'd still usually like that better than trying to reload and then having, you know, a swarm show up and beat me up. That's just personal preference, though. You'll kind of get a feel for that once you play a decent amount. Okay.
One of those cloaked scalps.
Okay. Yeah, we got a husk. Okay. Well, I'm running out of nails. I need to run to the hardware store.
You're going down.
And I'm out of nails. I'm completely out of bullets, though. Luckily, I have the bonus damage from this, so... Quite a few husks this round, really. Okay.
Come on.
Now, let's go get us some ammo, some nails. The next thing that we're going to want to be buying, at least that I want to save up for, is the Bastion. The Bastion is a really good machine gun for SWAT. It also doesn't count as a submachine gun, it counts as an assault rifle, but the damage multipliers on those are virtually the same depending on which thing you're fighting. There's not a whole lot of difference. So it's not as good as like something like the nail gun where it just has piercing damage. You could just keep the nail gun like what I'm going to do here, but you could also buy another gun with this if you feel like you want to save up more. The P90 is a great option. You get a lot of bullets for it. It's lightweight. It's got the red dot on it. Doesn't really have that much recoil. Again, Medic SMG is pretty good. Mag 10's okay too if you want to take that. Alright. So, let's save up, get us enough money for the Bastion, and I'm going to go Bastion and Nail Gun with this, and upgrading them. You can still go with the Medic SMG too, but then you won't be able to upgrade the Nail Gun. And you can't upgrade the Bastion. The Bastion's a tier 5 weapon already. Okay, Scrake. We're just gonna try to avoid the Scrake, especially in solo. And just get rid of all this. I'd rather not make the Scrake angry, at least right away. We will later, but for right now we're gonna try to keep him kind of passive.
Looking weak.
Especially once I hear Flesh Pounds coming. Oh, that's a full-size Flesh Pound. Alright. Here's a tip that I should probably make its own video for. If you block or let a Flesh Pound hit you, then it will stop raging afterwards. It will still try to hit you if you're still close enough to it, which is also why you might want to incorporate a jump when you're blocking. And if you're blocking with the knife, it doesn't matter if you parry or if you block. You will have the same amount of damage reduction, regardless of which it is. That's not always the case with Berserker weapons, though. Most Berserker weapons have a higher parry damage reduction than a block damage reduction. With really, like, the exception being the Bone Crusher. But I know I did that in, I think, one of the other videos that I said to beat Hell on Earth with. And when we got the King Flesh Pound and I was doing that. And then I got a bunch of comments saying that people weren't aware that you could do that. It doesn't work with Scrakes, though. If a Scrake's raging and starts hitting you, he will just keep raging and trying to kill you. So you can still try to block and parry and let him smack you, you know, away. But you will still have to kill him quickly, otherwise he will probably kill you unless you're playing, like, Medic or something where you can just outrun him.
Don't worry, the next one will be harder.
Okay. I'm gonna save the rest of my nails for the Scrakes. Even though Scrakes do take reduced damage from piercing, so it's not as good against them. The Bastion would be better, or the Vector. The Chris submachine gun is also a really good option for SWAT. Okay, it's just one Scrake. So I'm gonna switch this over to shotgun mode and
Watch out!
okay. It'll still kill him pretty quick. Even on like 6-man Hell on Earth, you can still kill him fairly quick like that. You don't need to get point blank like I did though. That's just to like save ammo, and I knew it was the last thing there. Okay, hey, even more ammo. Yeah, all that value. Alright, I'm gonna get the Bastion, and then we're gonna be pretty set, good to go. And you can do a pretty good combination with these. I'll kind of show you. I'm going to upgrade our nail gun once. And we'll throw an upgrade into the handgun too. So the Bastion's just the stoner. If you like playing the stoner on Commando, you'll probably like it even more on SWAT because this is better, I would say. It's got better sights. It's got potentially more rounds in it depending on which perks you take, and it's got a shield, which the shield is fantastic. It's also more lightweight. So I usually just shoot this normally, like this, without the shield up. You can have the shield up if you'd like, but I usually do that while I'm reloading or if I see something big coming to try to hit me. Most of these small guys don't really care too much about, but when I am reloading, then I have the shield up, just in case enemies do get close. Okay.
Don't break your arm patting yourself.
And you don't want to have the shield up all the time because it does drain. Alright. Get rid of all the quarter pounds. The nail gun, once I have two weapons, I pretty much always keep the nail gun on burst fire mode. And then I just kind of switch to it whenever I sort of need it for big stuff. For all these small things, I'll just have the Bastion up and be firing at them. Of course, going for headshots is best, but SWAT's weapons are fairly forgiving against small enemies, not so much against big enemies, because then they do actually have reduced damage on them. Okay.
See ya, gal.
Well, I hear that we have flesh pounds again. I don't know if they're quarter pounds. Yeah, they are. Okay. So, I think I can show this trick with the Bastion as well. So that blocking trick with the knife also works with the Bastion shield. And it would work the same way with the Glock 18 shield. But in these videos I don't go over the DLC weapons because not everybody has them. So these are free weapons. Good thing though that SWAT's best loadout is completely free. Because the Glock 18 with the shield I just find as a worse Bastion. Oh. Alright, keep on moving. I should also talk about reload canceling with this weapon too. The way that you can reload cancel is as soon as you notice that the ammo is technically in the gun, you can then melee, and you will cancel out of the animation and you can shoot as soon as you interact with the melee. It does take getting used to,
Love my gun.
but you can do it pretty quick once you're actually used to it, like that. So that was me reloading, waiting for the numbers to be set. You can also just get used to the actual animation. I usually just look at the numbers at the bottom. And then that was a melee into shooting it immediately. So, I wouldn't recommend doing that with every weapon. Most weapons it honestly doesn't benefit a huge amount from. But weapons like the Bastion that do have a long reload, it does help. Okay.
Easy as pie.
Hang on, I ran out of bullets.
That book.
Alright, there we go. And then I think it's just another bloat or... Oh, husk. Okay.
Feel safe, but it won't actually save you.
And we're on to boss wave. Let's hope we get a decent boss to fight.
The resource cost of a flesh pound. No, of course not.
SWAT really isn't the best at fighting bosses, I'll say that.
Isn't enough.
They're not. If you go with this too, you do have an extra weight, so I would definitely recommend taking a medic pistol. At least if you're playing multiplayer. I don't like taking it solo just because I accidentally switch to it sometimes, and I don't mean to. Because I'd rather just be using the Bastion and the nail gun. But yeah, multiplayer definitely take like a medic pistol if you can. Or the medic SMG if you want that one instead. Oh, King Fleshbound. Fantastic. We actually have a really good setup for him. The nail gun does bonus damage against him, and the Bastion can block his hits. So, great. This would be our ideal boss to be fighting. Alright, so he hit my shield, and then he calmed down after that, so I can do the exact same thing again. And I jumped when he was doing that, so when he hit me, it sent me flying back a little ways. So I got plenty of time to reload, heal up if I need to. You know, and we're all good to go. We'll go back into the big room and have him come at me. If you don't have like the Bastion or something like this, you can do this with the knife with any class. So the knife's a little bit easier for me because I've done it so many times with all the other classes. Oh, whoop. Thank you, King Fleshbound. You didn't try to kill me right away. I appreciate that.
My boots, your face.
So, yep, nail gun, Bastion. Just go right back and forth and just keep switching. Get your reload in.
For nothing. Keep your distance. Okay. Let's round the
Use the shield and fling myself over here. Uh-oh. Okay, now... what you kind of just seen was his laser, which his chest laser can do a lot of damage to you, but you can duck underneath it. if the ground is level. At that spot, it was not level when he shot me, so I actually took a lot of damage there. Oh, there we go. Okay. See, so like ground like this, you can duck underneath it. That weird ground that we were on, not so much. Okay. Duck underneath that. And you always want to be taking out the boss's minions. At least for any of these. Sometimes you don't need to with like Patriarch, just because you can kill him and not worry about him. Okay. Alright, I do kind of need an ammo box now. Or at least I would like an ammo box. Don't particularly need one, but... Okay. Hang on one second. Nope. Okay, that wasn't good. I didn't get flung far enough, so he went immediately for another big heavy hit. Which, as you've seen, that did hurt quite a bit. His heavy hits do hurt a lot. Alright, we're just gonna see if we can kill him with this. Nope, that's not good. He sent us straight up. Okay. So we're just gonna be kind of cautious here. Because at this part he could potentially catch us and kill us, but... Alright, there we go. But we'll kill him first. So as you can see, that did take a lot longer than some of the other classes that we've done. Swat doesn't kill bosses particularly fast, even with the nail gun. It's a decent weapon for dealing with most stuff, but if you ideally wanted to win boss wave, Swat would probably not be the best class to go with. If you wanted to be a tank class, it'd probably be better to go with Survivalist, Berserker, or Medic. And if you wanted a more damaging class, it'd probably be better to go with something like Gunslinger, Demo, Sharpshooter, something like that. Potentially Firebug too. But you do start out incredibly strong. SWAT is the strongest starting class, and it makes the most sense to start out as SWAT and then transition to another class if you do want to beat Hell on Earth. That gives you the most value and the most survivability early on. So that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so very much for coming here. I really do appreciate it. If you're new here, be sure that you get subscribed. That way you get notifications whenever I post any of these videos. Special thanks to my supporters over here on the channel. These are my members here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. This list will be updated at the end of each month. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!